Hey everyone, welcome back. Icon here. Thanks for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, we are back in scrim mode, finally. I know it's been a little while, so I'm super excited to watch Chicago scrim, but we are hopping on board with Envoy. I just love the way that he plays. I love how fast. I love how he's always getting things done up, in, and around the hill. So that is who we will be following today. Seems like at the moment they do have control over this mid-map, and this is really good time. So it looks like there's 2 in you, but essentially all Envoy is trying to do there is just get time, and any time that you can sneak on that first hard point is positive time, right? Because most of the time, if you're spawning back in this back corner, then really the only thing that you want to watch is that you don't want to get flanked out, right? You don't want to give up spawns going into P2 if you originally have them. So mini-map right above Envoy's head. Every once in a while, I'm going to draw on there, and I'm just going to kind of show you exactly what is going on in Chicago's mind. So first thing to notice is that they're spawning right here in front of P2, and that's good. So if you're a Chicago fan, that's good for Chicago, because essentially what that means is that everybody from Seattle, who they're playing, I didn't mention that, but they are playing the Seattle Surge, but essentially everybody from Seattle, what this tells you is that everybody's mid-map. So if you end up spawning on this side over here, then that tells you that Seattle has pushed up on the left side and vice versa. So first thing there was that Envoy was spawning right here in the middle of P2. Now that has changed a little bit, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But all they're watching is just this left flank over by P4, and they were watching mid-map by water, and then that right flank. So essentially, if you're spawning right in the middle, you just have to make sure that you're getting down all 3 of those lanes so that you can continue to hold spawns. Now, at the moment, if we're getting back to exactly what's happening on screen, you can see that they're being pushed from the left-hand side. So as I'm watching this, I'm watching the arrows come up on Envoy's minimap. And as they come up, they were coming up on the right-hand side. So this is exactly where those arrows were popping up. And what that tells you is that if you're spawning on the right-hand side, so when Envoy spawned, he spawned over here. And what that tells you, if he's spawning over there, that means that Seattle was pushing this side over here. So that's a fairly nice job of Seattle of being able to break that. And as you're moving from P2 to P3, now you have the lead even though you didn't to begin with. So that's a really nice job of Seattle. That's something encouraging to see. As we go from this is a really hard push. So what a lot of teams are doing, if we just want to go ahead and we want to draw exactly what was going on with Seattle, I'll go ahead and I'll pause this for just a second just because I want to make sure everybody gets this. But essentially, if we're at P2, this is where Seattle had control. And as they rotated, rather than trying to push right through over to P3, the problem with doing that is that even if you get through, right, if you get kills in this area by Cole and you push up, where's that going to leave Chicago? Chicago is still going to be spawning back here in back warehouse. And that's not what you want. You want to try to flip spawn so that as it rotates from P3 to P4 to P5, you have control of the hardpoint and the spawns. So what a lot of teams that are doing now is if you have control of P2, then what you're trying to do is you're just trying to play the long game. You're trying to go through woods, and then you're trying to flank all the way around back behind P5. And if you can get behind warehouse, then now you'll get this spawn, and essentially what that's going to do is that's going to force Chicago to spawn out over here. So when you're seeing this battle back in warehouse, even though the current hill is at P3, that's exactly what's happening, is that they don't want to give up this back spawn because that can just have a way of snowballing itself, right? If you give up what's there on P3, then it snowballs into P4, and you still don't have spawns as it's rotating back into P5. That's where you really get into trouble. So as I'm watching this, what I'm seeing is that was a nice job from Chicago of just pushing out those players that were trying to push out P5 so that Seattle would have spawn. So now as there's 13 seconds left, we'll see if they're able to get this point. Okay, so it does look like they're pushing this. Even though they're going down, they were able to get the last 10 points there. So as it enters P4, they're going to have a lead as it goes from P4 and eventually back to P5. So P4, this is a new strategy right here, is that essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to push out this left-hand side. So let me show you this again real quick, just on the mini-map. So if you're going to P4, right, and you have spawns for P5, what a lot of teams, or what Chicago has started doing, is they've started pushing min-map. And if you can get kills in this area, then essentially what happens, so if Chicago has control of the hill, what that's going to do is that's going to spawn Seattle over here. So if you're Chicago, you want to get kills in this mid-tracks area, and you want to have somebody at P3. So what that's going to do is that's going to stop, if you have somebody at P3, that's going to stop their advance trying to push out P5. And if you're getting kills mid-map, that's going to stop them from getting inside and contesting that current hard point. So that's why you see, even though Chicago doesn't have spawns at the moment, as it's about to rotate from P4 to P5, that's why they have a current lead as it goes back. So now that they have this spawn and they're starting to push out a little bit, this is where you're probably going to see their lead go up quite a bit, because if they have spawns, and this is, so again, P2 and P5 on this map are the ones where you can really build out your lead. And that's probably what I'm going to see happen here, unless they go 5 down. So if they get pushed through over by Woods and they're able to go 5 down, then that's probably the one scenario which you're not going to have a big lead after leaving this one. But I just don't see that happening. Once you get set up here and you have a team that is pretty good at slaying, you're probably going to be able to max this out.
I got one.
We'll see if Envoy can clear this out. He got 2, he got 3. And there you go. That's the power of Envoy right there. He was able to kill Octane over at P3 as he ran into boxes. He killed one with a nade, hit the last one in the back, and then now he was able to get that last 15 seconds or so. And those are big kills, right? Because that last 15 seconds, really what that is that's like a 30-point swing. Because if you get the last 15 seconds, then essentially you're not giving those 15 seconds to your enemy. So now, instead of that being 120 to 100, now it's just been snowballed from there a little bit. So as we go back through to the second set of rotations, the nice thing about scrims is that this gives us the ability to listen in. And that's something that I really miss on actual tournament live game day, is that you don't get to really hear. I know they do those listen-ins for like 20 or 25 seconds, but it's just not the same. So as we're going back into the second set of rotations, I'm going to let you guys listen in a little bit to what they're saying. Now, remember, as this goes from P1 to P2 on the second set of rotations, you do want to flip this. So if you're Chicago, or if you're watching with Chicago right here, you're going to see them pushing really hard to try to flip these spawns to the other side of the map, because if you can do that, then you can also build up that time on P2. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn up the volume. I'm still going to be able to chat and put my input in where I feel it is fit. But with that, let's go ahead. Let's turn up the volume and let's hear exactly what they have going on strategy-wise.
Water tower.
Can't kill this guy. Can't kill this guy.
Nothing back
He's dead. He's dead. One
Nice.
dead. One dead.
One on top.
Back window.
I spawned in the bathroom.
Yeah. I'm in the back.
Back window,
Back
back,
right now,
back,
guys.
back,
In the back.
I got that guy.
Crates, I spawned crates.
The back door, back door, back door.
Back door dead. Got him.
Another one there, another one there. I'm here too.
That right
Native
there,
front
that's
door.
just a
My bad,
phenomenal push. Now they know that the teammates are coming from the left, so they have to watch the right-hand
I'm trying to
side.
help the back.
So all Envoy's doing right here is he knows that they're coming from the back and the right-hand side. So he's just going to lay down and wait for them to make their move, as they did right there. And then the pre-fire gets a second. There's a third.
Yeah, another one side.
There's 2 more on the side door, but that's just the power of Envoy right there. So Seth is able to finish it up. Scump is able to get 2 that came in last. And there again, that's another 30-point swing, right? So when they finished, when they got that 4-piece, that was a 15-point swing. So they were able to get
Yeah, he's close left right here.
those last 15 points, and then that gives 15 to them and takes away 15 from a potential enemy. Again, the power of Envoy. This is exactly what we just said on the last one. So I'm just going to point this out real quick just so you can see it. If we're looking at the minimap, this is exactly, it was literally textbook what I was trying to say teams are doing. They had control of P2, right? Envoy left, came around the back. He was able to kill one right here. As he slid in, he killed another that was front ADOM. And then now, as he pushed in, now they're going to have this back P5 control, and Seattle's going to be spawning over here. So they're going to have control of the P3 spawns as it rotates to P4 and P5. This is what players like Envoy are capable of giving you. He literally just flips spawns by himself on that rotation there.
Yeah, we're good though. He's dead on time.
That's him. Another one there.
Good job, I'm on time.
One shot front, Sam.
Another one in pipes, Pipes. I got another one.
They're spawning out, guys.
Another nice job of controlling here.
I'm literally.
Yeah, just keep hitting mid.
Yeah, already am. Yo, I'm literally rotating.
There's 2 front hurt.
I'm rotated right now, guys.
There's like, they're both
Play.
like front, both like front.
So if you're Seattle in this instance right here, you kind of have your back up against the wall, because you can't really afford to just give up all of this time. But
I'm
if I'm looking at the mini map in the top left-hand corner, if I'm looking at Envoy's mini map, you can see that those blue arrows are already
two water,
pushed
guys.
up.
Yeah, one
So
pipes and one water. He's
Chicago
gonna
is
be you.
already going to have control of
You
P4
and
as
water,
it
you and
rotates
water.
over there.
Yo,
You
he's
can see
mid
right
hop,
now
mid
on this
hop right
mini
now.
map that there's somebody over to the
After.
left. So not only are they pushed up
Going
to
right.
try to get control of
Guys, remember,
P4,
just
but
play
they have
slow, play
somebody
slow.
mounted over there on the left-hand side of the map so that they don't give up that flank.
I smoked their side hill.
Can't see shit.
Yo, he's mid you, I think, in you.
Ever up right, dog.
I got him on time.
Right.
He's got me. He's on fork, on fork.
Tractor,
Fork
can't
dead,
kill him.
fork dead.
Good job.
I got Brian and you.
Alex needs sorta help on hill.
I'm gonna go left. I'm looking left then. Responding. Remember, just keep playing slow.
So
keep
somebody
playing slow
just
for
died. I
kills.
think that might have been Formal that died on the left-hand side of the map. And
In
as
you,
he
in you.
died, he was calling that out. But as Envoy went to rotate over there,
Pushed
they
out.
spawned on that side of the map. So what that tells you is that there's just nobody, there isn't anybody pushing on
two
that
on
side of the
time,
map,
two on
right? If they end up spawning there, then you can immediately shift whatever you're trying to do strategy-wise and go back
Yeah,
to
I'm
mid-hill.
picking your guys mid. Yo, mid on you guys. Flank, flank, flank.
Got me middle, give me middle.
Oh, another one mid tracks.
I have left.
Water
Good,
dead.
good.
Another three-piece from
Somebody
Envy,
help me forest weekend here?
or a two-piece
Timmy
there.
Forrest.
One was his teammate.
Forest, there's gonna be two of them there.
Mucking oil right
Just
now.
play tight and they won't
So
be able to
now,
get the hill.
now you can see
I
that
spawned-
Seattle is pushing out
I'm
that
going
forest
mid.
side. So this is going to end up being a left side versus right side. And this is a great job here of Envoy of he's trying to get into that choke point mid-map on ADOM. If he can get into that choke point and now it
There's
just
two
flipped
calling
again.
them. I'm just
So
staying
this is how fast things can happen. As
Yeah, stay
Envoy
down.
was
Watch
trying
my
to
front.
push through, they were trying to get the
Two.
kill on that side. Let me explain this real quick. So Envoy spawned right there. And what that means is that Seattle's pushing over towards woods. So rather than try to run through boxes into P5, what Envoy did is he went mid-map. So he went mid-map with the thought that he's going to try to enter these gun battles right here and cut them off before they could get around back. Now, while that was happening, he got right to mid-map. So he got right here in mid-map, and as that was happening, his teammates took out the enemies on that right-hand side, that wood side of the map. So they were able to capture these kills. So since they were able to get those kills, that then spawned Seattle over by P3. And then Envoy, as soon as he figured that out, he turned around, he threw this nade over here, and he knew that he could adjust his play style from there because they satisfied or they got
One
that
shot,
kill.
Another one there.
Up your front.
Wow.
Nated it. Up two.
Again, now they're spawning woods, which means
their
that
son.
Seattle
Boxes.
is spawning over towards Cole.
they're
There's
in boxes.
25
Look at the
seconds
back.
left, and they only need 9, so I don't have a problem with this. Sure, try to push this here.
Backdoor hurt.
Not
Oh, what is my controller doing?
so I'm not sure exactly what that
saw
was. Envoy blamed that on his controller. Essentially, the map
playing for-
could
I'm
have
playing for-
won, could have ended right
I'm
there,
playing-
right? If he's able to get
Dirt dead.
that dude that's in the back, and then maybe one more as
Yeah,
they're
one deep oil on me,
rotating
deep
from
oil on me.
P3 through boxes over to P5, and he probably could have ended the map right there. But even so, it's
Guys,
just going
play
to
for this
rotate
time, play
back
for
to
this time.
mid-map. And if I'm Chicago right now, you need 7 more seconds. So I'm just trying to win off this right here. If I can get in and win
I got
right
one.
now, that's what
Another
I'm going to
one
try to
on
do.
Already up your
He's flash left.
Front
One shot,
bathrooms.
Damon time, absolute. He's front bathroom.
I'm looking
I'll
right.
pick up right off one.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm bathrooms.
Another one here, another one here.
Nice job here of Seattle of not necessarily giving up this time, right? You would expect if everybody from Chicago is really pushing P1 that would be kind of hard to
I'm
lock
gonna
down.
try to back up and kill this guy. Oh yeah, you got me. Top AC, top AC.
Right now, Chicago seems to be a little bit in survival mode, just so that, not necessarily survival mode, but they're just trying to not give up spawns as it
You gotta go low
rotates
bathrooms,
from
low
P1 to
bathrooms.
P2. But then you have Envoy, who's just doing Envoy things,
I'm
right?
just trying
This
to
is
win off
what
this,
he
guys. I'm trying to
does.
win off this.
While everybody's
Hit
trying to
hop,
set
one
up
shot.
spawns, he's going to still push P1, and this is just what Envoy
Good map
provides.
overall.
He was able to get back into P1, and then he was able to lock that down here. So
I think he came through Adom.
real quick, we're going to wait for the scoreboard to come up just because I want to see just exactly what teams did. That's what I love about scrims too, is I can see who fried, who did really well, who didn't do well, stuff like that. So Envoy 34 and 27, SCUMP 36 and 27, big maps out of them. If you're looking at the other side, Pander. So if you're looking down here, Pander had 22 and 30, App 24 and 31. And again, that's just kind of what they're missing, right? They're missing that slaying department from the SMG role, where Envoy and Seth come out and drop a combined 70 kills. You don't get that on the other side for Seattle. If they're able to get that, that'll be the difference for them in terms of being able to succeed in the CDL and not being able to so far. So with that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I got my first 5 memberships yesterday. So now I have 3 tiers of membership. If you want to contribute to the channel and the stream and all that, I would love that so much. Thanks all of those people that have already done that. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of this content in the future. If you have any comments whatsoever, put them down below. I love the interaction. I get back to everybody. So if you have any comments, make sure you put them down below. Leave a like before you head on your way. And thank you guys so much. I'll check you in the next video.